Hello, and welcome to the channel. I'm Guy taking a dump, and you have entered the dump zone. In today's video installment, we will be discussing the Vault 7 revelations revealed by Wikileaks today on March the 7th, 2017. There is much to discuss and much to cover, and so much to investigate. But in this video, I just wanted to give a quick rundown of what exactly you need to know, or what everybody can basically get if you go and research the Vault 7 page and basically read the general press overview of what is to know. I've read it all. I wrote down a bunch of notes for that I thought were the most important points of interest that most people want to know, and everybody knows that the internet is all about convenience and deliverance of information. So here I am to give you this basic rundown as in short of a time as I can, while still divulging all of the particulates that you want to know. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to pull up the page here. As you can see, this is the WikiLeaks page. Vault 7 CIA hacking tools revealed. This was released around 9 o'clock this morning here in the United States, as well as probably all over the world. So I read the general press release, which is it's not super long, but it's quite long. It goes into the basic points of interest divulging are divulged throughout the revealing of the dump. And I've read all of it, and I think I've pointed out all of the most important facts for you to know. So first and foremost, the CIA's hacking abilities are tantamount and perhaps even greater than that of the NSA, which is their bureaucratic rival. Um, they have, and arguably, they've been at war with each other in an interagency war for some time now, since the NSA began its data mining operations. I suppose this is all, of course, now I'm getting into my own opinion about it. The CIA more than likely wanted the ability to gather intel like the NSA was on domestic entities as well as foreign entities, which is what their main expertise is, but in a manner using cyber espionage, which was as efficient as that of the NSA. So from the years, I believe, of 2013 to around now, of course, because these operations are still fully functional by the CIA, they've developed uh, maneuvers and programs and basically operation centers, which are completely all about um, cyber war, cyber espionage. Um, again, their hacking abilities which are revealed through these documents that the WikiLeaks has released today, show us that again their abilities are parallel with that of the NSA, or maybe even so greater than that, because of their foundation. They're actually able to go much further and deeper than the NSA may be, and they're not as oversought by government institutions such as senatorial hearing committees or whatnot, that would actually hinder them from doing operations which they freely are engaged in all the time, and currently right now it seems. Again, uh, I will repeat this: the CIA's hacking abilities are tantamount, or perhaps greater, than that of the NSA. Moving on from there, the CIA can mimic infestation, or otherwise known as implanted cyber weapons, used by foreign entities and governments to cover their infiltration and exfiltration of sensitive classified material. In other words, the CIA can actually copy the fingerprints that other institutions or agencies may leave behind. The very small details that may be left behind after an attack by a particular agency, say the NSA or the Russian Federation's equivalent of the NSA or the CIA, where if they went and did an attack on an agency or a website, web page, or a social media page, they would actually be they would mimic the fingerprint of that which would be left by whatever agency they're trying to mimic. So basically, they're covering their infiltration and exfiltration methods of sensitive classified material. By doing that, it basically uh, completely eludes the victim of the attack to the fact that they were actually attacked and their information stolen, or in this case, exfiltrated is the preferred word, by the CIA. Um, the implications for that are enormous. It leads us to many questions, which I will discuss later in this video. Um, there's actually a portion in the press release here where it discusses a certain operation field guide, almost, if you would call it that. It's called, let's see if I can pull it up here. Tradecraft do's and don'ts. And it's right here in this area of the press release, right under evading forensics and antivirus. Basically, it is a field manual for operatives and hackers engaged in this cyber warfare under the CIA's branches to uh, limit their fingerprint, the CIA fingerprint, and actually goes on to, I believe, from what I understand, I have not actually went into the Tradecraft do's and don'ts. I don't know if it pulls up anything. We'll look right now. Secret, no foreign. I don't know what this means. Evidently, it means this is one of their classified documents. As you can see here, though, it says directive and rationale. Do not obfuscate or encrypt all strings and configuration data that directly relate to tool functionality. Basically, it is a field operation manual for operatives to adhere to in order to fully keep implanted malware, weaponized malware, functional to perhaps for other operatives to use in a later time, or to siphon information continuously without interruption, um, all while eliminating that fingerprint that the CIA may leave behind after it has implanted this weaponized malware. So again, Tradecraft's do's and don'ts proves that the CIA has been spying and exfiltrating info on foreign allies and potentially concealing agency fingerprints by mimicking other foreign governmental agencies, or perhaps even that of the NSA or other US-based agencies. This has many implications, and again, we will discuss this later in the video, and especially so, we will discuss it in my live stream later today. We move on from there, though. The CIA purposefully left its cyber weapon arsenal declassified in order to prevent and evade potential prosecution for violating rules prohibiting which deal with classified info being placed on the internet publicly. Basically, there's governmental rules in place, not laws, but rules which do lead to prosecution if they are breached, especially regarding the CIA. Which basically it's what that means is that the CIA cyber weapon arsenal, okay, was left declassified because they knew what they were doing was technically illegal by the standards of international law, and especially concerning U.S. domestic law, and oversight rules basically which keep the CIA from overreaching its limitations of power. So in that right, they actually again left their CIA, their weapon arsenal, their cyber weapon arsenal declassified. What that means, that doesn't mean that their weapons were available for other hackers or other foreign agents who may also be operatives for a hacking team or a cyber security team of another foreign agency. Left them open for them to utilize. What that means is that the fact that they had these cyber weapons, basically the names of them and whatnot, were left declassified. So it says it right here under the, let's see here. Should be somewhere right under the first part of the press release. Not seeing it right now. Yeah, I'm not finding it right now. If you do read the press release, though, which I will leave the link for the Year 7 press release and document page in the description of this video. You can actually go and you'll read it yourself. you will eventually run into the portion where it discusses the fact that the CIA purposefully left the cyber weapon arsenal declassified in order to prevent and evade potential prosecution. Um, and again, there are rules that prohibit the CIA from classifying information like this. So that is why it was left declassified. Again, and it was not left totally open, of course, for other institutions or governmental agencies that are maybe foreign or domestic to utilize. That's not the case at all. But anyways, we will continue from there. Weaponized malware, referred to as implants or 0 days, uh, and these are the names. Sorry, let me reiterate this. Weaponized malware that they are using, they refer to them as, okay, implants or 0 days, listening posts, which are referred to as LPs, and then there are command and control systems, which are referred to as C2s. Now, the implants or 0 days are the initial breachings of whatever victim or target that they are trying to breach. Those are going to be the programs that exploit the back doors into whatever programs, systems, or web pages that they're trying to infiltrate and exfiltrate information from. Once these implants, or otherwise known as 0 days, are in place, they can actually go in and basically inject these listening posts or these control and command and control systems. Now, a listening post is more than likely a a hacking program which siphons intel from webcams or microphones. That's what I'm uh, getting from the fact that it's called a listening post. You know, for the most part, in the battlefield, in a physical battlefield realm, where there are boots on the ground and they're getting intel relayed from one of their FOBs, their forward operating bases. There would be a part of the FOB that would be called the listening post, or somewhere in between from the front line to the FOB and listening post, where they would relay information, which would make it more efficient, the information more efficient and um, more reliable to from relayer to listener. So this listening post, and this is all based on my opinion right now, is more than likely what I believe to be their program which would siphon intel from a webcam or a microphone based asset. So we move on from there. A command and control system is, again, this is my opinion, more than likely used to infiltrate web pages, social media, in particular, private email accounts or servers, even video games, to virus protection software and other PSP softwares. And PSP strictly means, let's see here, I pulled it up earlier. I'll show you real quick. PSP means personal software process, and if you click on here, this is from the free dictionary. Personal software process is a structured software development process that is intended to help software engineers understand and improve their performance. So basically, they cover their weaponized malware as maybe a virus protection program, such as McAfee, Norton, Sophos, any other of the mainstream or even other small-time virus protection softwares, and that could be said for anything in regards to performance-enhancing programs that you may use on your computer, a defragging program, just a delogger, something that might clear logs for you or cookies. So they actually hide their programs in these PSP softwares. And in the press release, they actually also divulged the fact that the CIA was actually using video games. Not They didn't name any in particular. I think there were two they named in particular. They were not uh, video games that I believe would be known as mainstream. Here it is. Uh, to witnesses, the spy appears to be running a program showing videos, which may be a VLC video, something that you download, or a particular video website like Vimeo, perhaps, presenting slides, Prezi. It's a slide program, I believe, like uh, a what's the word that I'm looking for here? Excuse me for being so illiterate to this term. Um, Either way, you get what it is: a slide, a presentation. Wow, how could I forget that? Playing a computer game. So, in other words, video game, PC-based video games, Breakout 2 or 2048. I've never heard of these games before, but we will look them up just right now. Let's look them up right quick. so we know what we're talking about here. 2048 is a single-player sliding block puzzle game by Italian web developer Gabriele Cerulli. It's based in JavaScript, so it'd be very easy for them to manipulate it and turn it into basically a host cell or a host to their implant, or in other words, their zero-day weaponized malware. Breakout 2 is another game. It's not really divulging particular information about it. It looks like a free online game, also probably based in JavaScript. And then it even goes on to say, or even running a fake virus scanner, Kaspersky, McAfee, Sophos. But while the decoy application is on the screen, the underlying system is automatically infected and ransacked. So again, in other words, these various types of weaponized malware, again, implants or 0 days are going to be what get them into the systems or the programs or the web pages. Once those are in place, they will then either utilize it as a listening post or a command and control system. That's what I'm getting from this. Now, I could be wrong. If you can correct me, please do so in the comment section. But I'm quite sure that I'm almost positive that I'm right about this. So again, they implant they inject their implanter 0 day. That is the frontline advance into the program, software, or web page. They then utilize the 0 day or implant to host a listening post or a command and control system, so an LP or a C2. And these both have their own means of exfiltration of information. So we'll move on from there. Again, this is just a reiteration of what the CIA is, their main purpose is, and they are a foreign intelligence agency. Okay, they gather and receive intel from allied agencies. GCHQ, which is also named in this dump today by WikiLeaks. They are also involved in these the manifestation of these programs, these weaponized malware systems. But anyways, the CIA is a foreign intelligence agency. In other words, they are strictly and solely their strict and sole purpose is to gather and resource intel on foreign enemies and just foreign entities and alike. This legally bars them from investigating or gathering intel on U.S. citizens, much less U.S. officials, a part of the U.S. government, state or federally. Okay, the only reason they would be able to gather intel or resource information on U.S. citizens, U.S.-based companies, or U.S. officials, which are part of the government, which I believe, if we looked into it, U.S. official being investigated by the CIA, there has to be much more precedent for them to actually go about doing that. But for them to even begin to do any of that, they would have to have some kind of foreign alliance with an enemy, become suspected of terrorist activities, and that goes for U.S. companies, U.S. citizens, even U.S. officials as well. But again, I think there's even more that plays into it when you are a U.S. official that has to be precedent before they can actually investigate and gather information on you. And I believe that's under the Patriot Act that they are allowed to do that. But other than that, they are strictly a domestic-based foreign intel agency, which is their sole purpose and has always presumed to have been, and what they claim to be, to gather and resource intel on foreign entities. Okay, so we'll move on from there. With Vault 7 revelations, these are where I'm getting into my beliefs, my opinions, the implications of what Vault 7 will bring. Okay, just to part 1, of course. We don't have any of the other parts yet. With Vault 7 revelations, this could very well mean, but not in any way, shape, or form substantiate fully, that the CIA has been covering their tracks after potentially infiltrating U.S.-based companies, government institutions, federal and state level, and other agencies, as well as common citizens in the United States. Though spying on citizens may be unlikely, the time to be extremely scrupulously and skeptical has come because of these revelations. Now, what I mean by that is we have the evidence now. People have been, had supposed sources. Various alternative media channels have been saying for years now, almost a decade or so more, that the CIA and the NSA have had completely overreached into their powers. They have been spying on U.S.-based assets, companies, institutions, as well as citizens, and mining data at such a rate that they can't even really keep up with it at this point. There's so much to go through that they just can't even hardly keep up with it. Really, the only way for them to actually get into particular folks' information or companies' information is the various programs that they've created, such as that revealed by Edward Snowden in regards to the NSA, which was called PRISM. I'm sure the CIA has their own equivalent of that for all the data that they are mining right now from all these various weaponized programs, these malware programs. So, with that all being said, what do you think? Because for me, this directly may implicate them in many of the supposed Russian hackings that occurred during the election. Now, with that being said, these are all unsupported claims that I'm making, of course, and I am in no way, shape, or form directly uh, alleging that the CIA is involved in these activities. But from what we're seeing here in these revelations by the Vault 7 leaks by Wikileaks today, this may very well be the situation. I will have to go through these documents that are provided in the directory, which basically give you everything you need to see in regards to these operations, these new forms of espionage that the CIA has created here in the last 10 years, and specifically so under the Obama administration. It leaves so many questions to be unanswered and to speculate upon. Did the Obama administration even have a clue about what was going on at the CIA? If they did, why didn't they in some way, shape, or form divulge this information to the public sooner? Is this something that the public should know? Do you think that this is important for the public to be discussing and to know? And it is notable that the person who sourced this information to WikiLeaks, the reason for doing so, and if I can find it, it will say why the person sourced it, and I believe I don't want to misquote them. They wanted to create a public debate, though, is what I remember reading, that would enable the American populace as well as more than likely the global populace to start this discussion, okay, into why this is pertinent information and why we need to discuss this stuff and why it is important for us to start to disseminate this information amongst ourselves and really get down and deep and dirty into all of it so we can unveil and exploit more of what needs to be exploited. And again, here at the bottom, if you read the bottom of WikiLeaks under the facts, it says, has WikiLeaks already mined all the best stories? It says, no, WikiLeaks has intentionally not written up hundreds of impactful stories to encourage others to find them and so create expertise in the area for subsequent parts in the series. There, look. Those who demonstrate journalistic excellence may be considered for early access to future parts. And then it says, won't other journalists find all the best stories before me? It says, unlikely. There are very considerably more stories than there are journalists or academics who are in position to write them. So this is what our job is to do as YouTubers, as folks who want to unveil the truth, who want to understand. And again, there have been for years now people on alternative channels of media saying that there have very well been these CIA operations going on, not only foreign, of course, but of course, what this is implicating is domestically as well. So, and that was true about the NSA, and who's to say that it isn't about the CIA as well? So again, I asked the question: what do you think? What are you finding in this trove of information that has been released today by WikiLeaks? And if you care to share it with us, please do so in the comment section. You can reach me on Facebook, on Twitter, all of the various social media platforms, and we can talk about it. I love speaking to people and meeting new people and discussing these situations, especially when they're as immediate as they are right now. These are the most important times for us to do this. Again, I asked the question, is this important? Is this information relevant? Is this something that we already knew that now we just have substantial evidence to back our claims up for now? But I digress there. This video is already getting a little bit longer than I'd like it to. But again, I want to reiterate, I appreciate you coming to the channel and watching the video. I hope that you found it informational and resourceful, and I hope now we can start to discuss this situation in real time. And again, I will be hosting a live stream here in another close to another hour, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on March 7th, 2017, where we will discuss and go through more information in regards to this Vault 7 revelation. So I appreciate you for stopping by. If you like the video, please share, subscribe, and like it. And I will be sure to be putting out more videos as well. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and God bless.